With farms today, more farmers are updating to bigger and better grain systems, which has better safety because it is newer, but also could lead up to bigger accidents.
Hi, I'm Trevor Anderson. I am from Rogers, North Dakota. We are NDSCS farm management students in Wahpeton. We're going to show you a rural safety video. Like I said, I'm from Rogers. We raise on my farm corn, beans, and wheat.
I'm Brad Clemens, and I'm from Wimbledon, North Dakota, and we raise corn and beans.
I'm Patrick Lindseth, and I'm from Page, North Dakota, and we raise corn and beans.
And this is our grain bin safety video. Hi, I'm Trevor again. I'm going to show you the general maintenance and care for a conventional auger with flighting. First, you want to make sure it's locked in so it don't drop unexpectedly. Make sure your belts are tight, there's no cracking or wear. You want to make sure the motor is free of debris and dust, typically bees wings. Make sure always the cords are good looking, the rubber is not falling away from it. Before you start, you always want to make sure there's nothing in the hopper actually. You want to make sure everything looks good, everything's attached. Before you ever turn it on, you want to make sure it's clear. Right, you want to turn it on and
All clear!
that's all clear. Make sure you don't have your hands in there. Now, if you're gonna clean this out, you never put your hand in there when it's plugged in. You want to make sure that's unplugged. So if you want to unplug that. Okay, now it's safe to put this in. You know, make sure it's not in there, so if it rains the next day, it's not gonna get molded and crusted up in there. So I'd put that in there and then back away, and then Brad will plug it in and then empty it into the truck again. Clear.
Clear!
Hi, I'm Patrick Lindseth, and similar to the system that Trevor is showing you, the auger, this is a grain belt system. First things you want to do before you even plug it in is inspect to make sure that there's nothing inside the hopper. And if there is, you want to pull it out. Next, you want to go to the bearings. You want to inspect those, make sure that your belt splices are all good to go. You want to inspect the chains. You also want to grease those when you get a chance. You want to inspect your belt and motor on this side. Everything appears to be in good shape. Next thing you can do is you can plug it in. Make sure this is off first. Do the last check over. Turn it on. You want to let it run for a little while and make sure that there is no weird noises coming from any of the pulleys, and then you should be good to go.
Hi, I'm Brad, and I'll talk to you about takeouts. First, you want to make sure your takeout is unplugged before you do any of your inspecting. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your belts are tight, no cracks from weathering, from being outdoors. You want to make sure your bearings are greased properly, your wire cords are clear from being pinched. Make sure it's always in the off position unless you're going to be running it. Make sure your guidance cable is nice and tight so no pinching, and clear off all your debris. And back here, you want to make sure your slides are nice and movable, nothing's stuck. And back here, there's a fan. Make sure there's nothing in there to cause any damage or harm to others. And here, I want to show you about the grain bin doors, where you want to make sure when you put the doors in to have all the bolts tight and have all the slides nice and tight. Good to go. Here we have one of our dump pits, and right here you drive over, open the traps, make sure everything's clear. Here you want to make sure all your yokes are greased and all your fightings look good. Right here you want to make sure all your cords are dangling free, nothing's in the motors, and have your leg clear to operate. Right here is where you want to change your bins to either go into the wet bin, to go into the dryer, or to go straight into the dry bins. And with dealing with grain dryers, you want to make sure that you temporarily open them to make sure you don't see anything bad inside, such that could start on fire, because that's the number one starting the fire. And over there is where the control box is to look at the timers and for your dryers times. If you want to follow me, I'll show you one of the experiences I had. One day we were cleaning this out, we had the safety gate off, and we were down inside here, and I was cleaning it out. My brother-in-law was over there doing some random stuff. Then pretty soon I was going to walk away because I was done, and I turned around, and pretty soon I know I'm on my back right here, and my foot is stuck, and I hear the pits going. And I'm screaming my brother-in-law's name, Joe, Joe, and pretty soon Joe shuts it off. I quick take my boot off, and it was wedged inside here and actually broke the yoke. And we had to later replace that, and my boot is now shot.
Hey, we're at the dryer shack now. We just loaded the dryer up with some corn. We're about to do some moisture tests, and Trevor's here to tell you some safe grain storage tips.
With grain storing over winter, probably the best thing you can do is make sure your grain is dry. With corn, you want your grain no more than 14%. Same with beans and wheat. Because if you put wet grain into a bin, it's going to get moldy and create hot spots, and it's going to cause the grain, when you want to unload it, it's going to cause the grain to flow down not even, and it happens to have grain on one side of the bin and not the other, and if your bin's tall enough, it could eventually tip over your bin. We've seen it happen before. The best thing you can do is put dry grain and always run air through your bins over winter. So Patty, let's see what we got here with this corn. See how much we got to bring it down to put it in the bin.
Gonna do a moisture test here. Got to turn the scale on. Got to zero it out. Load 250 grams. And we can load it right into the moisture scale here. Just a couple there. Press test. Load 250, goes in the moisture test chamber, press test. Corn is 18.5. We're gonna have to dry it down about another 4% moisture, and then she should be good for the storage.
Sounds good, Pat. I probably drop it down about 4 points and should be safe.
Alright, this is bin sweep right here, and you want to first off, you want to make sure your latch is down and your gears are all greased and nice and ready to go. And for these holes, you want to make sure if your takeout's going and they're open, to be cautious so you don't accidentally step in there and it takes your foot off. Over here, this is a cone. This is for if there's a hot spot, that you go to the side or a chunk so it doesn't plug your center hole. Right here, this is the temperature cable. This will tell you the temperature of the inside of the bin. Once there's grain in it, you can tell. You want to make sure if you're taking out of the bin, there's ropes along the sides just in case something happens. You only go down so far. And right down here, you want to make sure your motor's nice and greased and all maintenance up, worry free. And when you're ever in a bin, you want to have a dust mask on and proper ear and eye protection. And that's pretty much all you need to know about the inside of a grain bin.
Alright, so that concludes our presentation of farm safety with grain handling systems and grain storage.
Remember to put safety first no matter what.
And stay golden, pony boy.
We can dance if we want to, we can leave your friends behind, 'cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends.